Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chapter 21 Inequalities and Regions, Exercise 21a. This is my second video for this chapter. What are our objectives and what I explained in my first video. I explained in my first video how to graph the inequalities involving one variable and then how to shade the unwanted region. So in this video I'm going to discuss how to shade the compound inequalities. Like if you have a compound inequality, how can you graph it on the graph paper, and secondly which area will be unwanted and you have to shade that unwanted area. Clear? So these are our main objectives today. I will explain with the help of an example here. For example, if I have to draw this inequality on the graph paper, actually when we say it's a compound inequality, that means we have two inequalities that are, you can say, combined together. One of the inequality is x is less than 4. So if you will draw x is less than 4, because this symbol, for this symbol we need a dotted line. So here we have 4. So and which type of line do we have to draw? We have to draw a dotted line here, and because it's the inequality is in x, so we have to draw a vertical line. Clear? So we will draw a vertical line on x equals 4. Right? And which area will be crossed out, or which region will be crossed out? Because we need the less values of x, so it means we do not need the greater values, so you will cross out them, or you can say you will shade them. Right? These values we don't need them. Now if you look at the other inequality, this was the inequality, I wrote this part of this inequality. Now what is the other inequality? The other inequality is this one. What does it say? It says x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Why x is greater than or equal to negative 4? Because here you can see the open end of this inequality is towards x. That means if always when we write a single inequality, we have to start it with x. When you are writing the compound inequality, then we put the x in between these two numbers. Right? So x is greater than or equal to negative 4. If I write it separately, it will look like this. Now look at what is the symbol here. It says that I have to draw a solid line, because the inequality again it's in x, so I have to draw a vertical line, a solid vertical line, where at negative 4. So here we have negative 4. Then again you will draw a solid line over here. As you can see, I have already drawn it over here. So this is the solid line, and then which area do I have to cross out? What are the values that I don't need? I need the values greater than negative 4. So the values that are greater than negative 4 are on the right side. So I do not need the region that is on the left side of this line. So I will shade it, or you can say I will cross out that area or that region. Now clearly you can see this middle part, it has all the values that are less than 4 from here and that are greater than negative 4. So like it's a compound inequality that has been drawn here on the coordinate plane. So this is our main region, the region that is not shaded. This is the region that we are looking for, and this is the region that we do not need, or you can say this is the unwanted region. Clear? This is how we have to plot the inequalities. So let's start with the questions. This is question number 15 from the book. So these are the three main questions that you have to ask yourself. What is the first question? By looking at the inequality, you have to decide, is it going to be a vertical line or is it going to be a horizontal line? Because the inequality is given in y, that means I have to go with the word hoy, that means horizontal line of y. Right? Then you have to decide that is it going to be a dotted line or is it going to be a solid line. By looking at the inequalities, the inequality that you will draw with at 3, you can say that will be y is less than or equal to 3. It will get a solid line. It means that you have to draw a solid line at 3. Then if you look at this negative 2, it has y is greater than negative 2. It means the symbol here, it is only less than. It does not have the equality with it. That means it's going to be a dotted line. So you can say that for the 2 we have to draw a dotted line, and for 3 we have to draw a solid line. Clear? But where do we have to draw these lines? The first line will be at y3. Where is y3? y3 is here, right? And it's going to be a solid line. So let's take a solid line and draw it over here. So you have to draw it here. Clear? Then -2. Where is y -2? y -2 is here. That means now you have to draw a dotted line at y -2. It will be here, right? After that you have to, the area, that is the unwanted area. So we do not need values greater than we need all the values less than 3. We do not need all the greater values. So this area will be, you can say this is the unwanted area, so it will be shaded. And here we do not need the values that are less than 2. So this is the area that we do not need. This is the region that will be shaded. Now the part that is lying between 3 and -2, this is the region that we were looking for. It means all the values in this region are less than or equal to 3. All the values of y in this region are either less than or equal to 3 or they are greater than -2. Clear? Okay, I will show you a better picture. Here it is. Clear? So this was question number 15. Now I want you to solve question number 16 on your own. Pause the video here and then we will discuss it, right? So here is the answer for question number 16. Now look at this. It's x is less than or equal to 1.5. Okay, where is 1.5? Here we have 1. So 1.5 will be between 1 and 2. So here you have to, this point is giving you x equals 1.5. And then on the other side we have x is greater than or equal to -1/2. So we have two inequalities. The first inequality is x is less than or equal to 1.5. And the other inequality is x is greater than or equal to -1/2. So actually we have to draw these two inequalities. Here it's 1.5. Here it's only 1/2. And which type of lines? Because it's in x, so we have to look at the word walks. That means draw a vertical line for x. So I have drawn two vertical lines here. Now all the values that are less than 1.5 are on this side. So I need this area. So I will shade the other side of the line. The other side of the region will be shaded. If I look at the other inequality, I need all the values greater than -1/2. So -1/2 is here. I need all the greater values that are on this side. That means I do not need the smaller values. So the smaller side will be shaded. So this is how it will be graphed. Clear? Okay, now we have another type of questions in the exercise. It says give the inequalities that define the unshaded regions. Now clearly you can see that some of the regions are not shaded and I have to look at the lines. Now this is the line, right? This is the boundary line, you can say, of the shaded and unshaded region. This is the line that is separating both the regions. Now what is the value of, because it's a horizontal line, it's a vertical line. So because it's a vertical line, so I have to look at the word walks. That means my inequality is going to be in x. And it's going to be not a compound inequality, it's going to be a single inequality. And what is the value of x here? It's -1, right? X is equal to -1. That means you have shaded all the values that are greater than -1. So that means you need all the values that are less than, and I will not write it equal to just because it's a dotted line. So we need all the values less than -1. So this is the answer for question number 22. What about question number 23? It's a case of between. Between means because there are two shaded regions, that means that you have to see what is the area, or you can say what is the region between these two lines. So this is a horizontal line here and I have another horizontal line here. That means it's a case of Hoy. The inequality is going to be written with y. So I will write y in between. Here always remember that the larger number, it's 2, and the smaller number is -2. The larger number is always written on the right side. The smaller number will always be written on the left side. Now y is less than or equal to 2. Why it is less than or equal to 2? Because I need all the less values than this 2. Clear? So y is less than or equal to 2, and here it's y is greater than or equal to -2. If you think directly, it's difficult for you to directly write a compound inequality, you can write the two inequalities first. Look at this. Y is less than or equal to 2 for this one, and for this one it is y is greater than or equal to -2. Now how will you combine these two inequalities? Always you have to write the y is less than or equal to 2 on this side because this is the greater limit, and on the other side because it says the open end will be towards the y, so it's going to be like this, and here you will have -2. And the easiest way is that always y will be written between the two limits, the smaller limit and the larger limit, and the symbols will always be like this. Sometimes it will be only the case of, depending on the lines. If it will be a solid line, it will be like this. If it will be a dotted line with any of the number, that number will get this symbol or this symbol. Clear? Okay, so we have one more question. Now look at the, I think better pause the video here and solve this question on your own, and then play the video to check your answer. Here is the answer. Okay, first of all, notice that these are the horizontal lines. So I have to keep the word hoy in my mind. That means that I have to write the equation or the inequalities in y. Now because it's a case of between, because one of the limit is the upper limit, one of the limit is the lower limit, and the area that I need, it's between these two numbers. Now what is the number here? It's 2.5, because it's not 3, it's not 2, it's between 2 and 3, so it's going to be 2.5. So you will say y is less than 2.5. Okay, why we cannot put the less than or equal to sign? Because it's a dotted line, so for the dotted line we always put only the less than sign. Now what about the other inequality? It's between 0 and -1, so it's going to be -1 out of 2, right? So you will put the greater than, y is greater than -1 out of 2, or simply you can say I have to write y in between -1 out of 2 and 2.5, because the upper limit always we have to write it on the right side, the lower limit we always have to write it on the left side. The symbols, these symbols will go. Okay, y naught is equal to, because these are dotted lines. Clear? Now here is a challenge question for you. Better pause the video here. Please remember it. They are talking about the blue region. Means they want you to write the inequality for this region. Don't think that it's crossed out, it's shaded. No. They want you to write the inequality that is in between these two red lines. Okay? So better solve it on your own now. Here is the answer for the challenge question. This is the answer. Okay. Clearly I have two limits, the upper limit and the lower limit for this region. Okay, the upper number is, let me show it over here, this is the 4, this number is 4, and the lower number here is 1. Because why it is 1? Because it is between 0 and 2. So 1 x 4. Why do I have to write x? Because it's the case of the vertical line, so it is going to be walks. Okay, now how do always the signs, they go this way. Then because 4 has a solid line, so I have to make this symbol as less than or equal to the symbol that will go with 1. It has a dotted line, so it will remain like this. Clear? So that's all for this exercise now. I hope you understand it.